Tartarus. In Greek mythology, Tartarus is said to be the prison for the wicked, trapping them in eternal damnation. It was also where the Olympians cast down the Titans after their coup d'etat. Tartarus is described as a deep abyss in the earth, beneath Hades even, which extends all the way to chaos and the edge of the universe. Persona 3, the player finds themselves confronted with a long climb up Tartarus's infinite layers. Not an abyss, but a tower, climbing into the sky. Floor after floor drifts by, each identical to the last. With no idea how far they will have to climb, the characters can only trust in the progression itself. With each new floor, the player gets stronger, and the enemies get stronger as well. Much like life, each day we strive for tomorrow, with no knowledge of how many tomorrows there will be. Day after day can go by, with no feelings of progress. In the end, we can only trust that death will take us in its cold embrace, relieving us from the monotony and menial toiling of daily life. As in life, the player must take the protagonist through each self-similar day. Day after day rolls by in the game. Little stories unfold with this character and that, but really, they are all the same, and mostly muted. Persona 3 Reload is a remake of the original Persona 3 from 2006. The graphical style is similar to Persona 5, with a few upgrades. Persona 3 is about the same game-wise as Persona 4 and Persona 5. However, this was an earlier game, so certain aspects are more rudimentary. The floors are more monotonous, and there are more of them, 264 in all. The enemy variety is smaller as well. Whereas other games would feature a unique boss every 10 floors, you can expect no true unique boss battles until the very end of the tower. There are unique bosses sprinkled in throughout the story portion of the game. The tower climb can be repetitive, but also zen-like once you get the hang of the battle system. Persona 3 Reload also adds a unique battle option called Theurgy, which are like special final moves the characters can unload during battles. Persona 3's story is a bit blander than the later titles. We still see a cast of characters in high school being brought into a shadow world to fight demons. However, this game's story lacks some of the spark and humor that is seen in later games. Instead, the game takes a more melancholic tone, with plenty of emo moodiness sprinkled throughout. In order for the characters to summon their persona, they must literally point a gun at themselves and shoot themselves in the head. The characters all take to this immediately, and they have no issue with it, and it is never mentioned again. This is certainly a darker game, and there are deaths in this game as well. The main villain of Persona 3 is Thanatos, Greek god of death and son of Nyx, the goddess of night, as well as brother to Hypnos, the god of sleep. The game's story is a bit different from 4 and 5. There are people in the overworld who are aware of the shadow world in this one, and they will help the characters. In fact, the game starts out with the player being inducted into a secret military organization which has been dealing with the Tartarus situation for a while. It's kind of a Resident Evil type situation. Unfortunately, this premise adds to the blandness of the story, as rather than being motivated from within, the player just kind of gets roped into the whole thing and is dragged along by the monotonous climb of the tower. In this game, rather than living with a relative, the character lives in a big dorm with the other high school characters. I've never heard of a high school dorm, But there are a lot of orphans in this group, so maybe it's like an orphan thing. Anyway, they say home is where the heart is, and my heart is in my body. S-Links are alive and well in this game. If you want to max out the S-Links, you will have to perfectly schedule each encounter, or it will be impossible to get all those juicy S-Link points. If you're not sure about doing max S-Link, I'd say this is the one to not do the S-Link max because the stories are honestly pretty mid in this one. They didn't quite have the writing chops that the later game has. One thing I noted from the S-Links in this game is that none of the dudes on your team can be S-Lunk. The girls can, and a random smattering of characters outside of the group can, but none of the guys. I will say, though, regarding the story, despite its mostly being bland, it does have its moments. And the end really got to me. It made me feel things. Some notes I have for the game in general. I still hate the move Mama Dune. When you first encounter it, it's so annoying that there is a move in this game which can literally insta-kill all your characters at once, and it is purely based on luck. Of course, there are items and skills to mitigate this, but it's still just an annoying thing. The game does take pity on the player in this one, and it allows them to continue right from the battle if they die. It's also annoying that the game ends automatically when the main character dies, even if there is a member in the party who could potentially resurrect them. Like, why is the game over? We should be able to bring him back. Why is he so important? I will also note that every male character in the game can get a tuxedo, except for the protagonist, who gets a kind of tuxedo, but they call it a butler suit. So rude. Why is this game so rude to the protagonist? I'd say, despite the game's more muted story and blander gameplay, it is still worth a play though, if you're a fan of the series. Maybe not the first one I'd try though. The entire game can be played for free on Xbox Live Game Pass. As always, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
The salt sea till we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushant to Scilly is 34 leagues.